It's obvious why the Israeli government murdered these people. It's so that they would suspend relief in Gaza, being afraid of being murdered. The Israeli government needs to be punished for the murdering of aid workers. Uh, so far, there's been like 200 or so aid workers killed by the Israeli government.
The convoy of aid vehicles had just left a Gaza warehouse, clearly marked with the logo of the World Central Kitchen, when they were hit by a series of Israeli airstrikes. Tonight, the White House among those sharply criticizing Israel.
We were outraged to learn of an IDF strike that killed a number of civilian humanitarian workers yesterday. This incident is emblematic of a larger problem.
7 aid.
Okay, so are you going to stop funding Israel and put sanctions on them to show that you're actually upset with them murdering innocent people? Or is the United States still going to fund the Israeli government?
Workers were killed, including a dual U.S.-Canadian citizen. Late today, President Biden calling World Central Kitchen founder, celebrity chef Jose Andres, to offer condolences. Andres writing, the Israeli government needs to stop this indiscriminate killing. It needs to stop restricting humanitarian aid, stop killing civilians and aid workers, and stop using food as a weapon. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying Israeli forces unintentionally harmed non-combatants, and writing,
Unintentionally, they knew who these people were, their vehicles were marked, and they have been telling the location to the IDF. So it wasn't unintentional, it was intentional. You can possibly say the first strike was a mistake, but the second and third strikes, no, that is not a mistake.
our hearts go out to their families, saying Israel will investigate and we will do everything in our power to ensure that such tragedies do not occur in the future.
It was
Okay, so what about all the other aid workers that the Israeli government has killed? I mean, this is an ongoing pattern of the Israeli government killing aid workers.
a mistake.
Israel's top general saying the strike was a mistake following a misidentification. NBC News mapped the locations of the aid group's destroyed vehicles, finding at least 3 strikes over a 1.5 mile length of coastal road. The aid group says they coordinated their movements with the Israeli military ahead of time. We pressed an Israeli government spokesman.
Israel tells the world that its strikes are based on precise intelligence, that it takes measures to make sure there are not civilians in the area. How can that possibly be true, given what happened here?
There's a war going on. It's a war zone, and in every war, sadly, tragically, mistakes happen, and we do.
Well, that's the Israeli government's justification for everything. It's a war, so it's okay to kill workers. That's that's illogical to use the excuse that it's war. And yeah, if there claims that they're using accurate information, then they obviously knew who these people were and still decided to kill them.
Do our very utmost to avoid those mistakes.
Among those killed yesterday, Australian Zomi Frankham. NBC's Richard Engel met her last month as she helped organize an aid drop.
The situation in Gaza is, as we all know, incredibly bad. It's going to require all of us working together.
Tonight, heartbroken.
And his organization worked with the Israeli government after October 7th to help provide aid and stuff to the people that were injured and all that. So not like the Israeli government didn't know who these people were and what their symbols were.
Colleagues carrying the bodies of the victims to the Egyptian border, preparing to leave Gaza with the prayers of those they came to help.
And World Central Kitchen is now pausing aid deliveries. Meanwhile, the UN says this was not an isolated incident. Around 200 aid workers, most Palestinian, have been killed in Gaza since the start of the war.
And why doesn't the Israeli government get punished for murdering aid workers when it's a common thing for them? This is international law to kill